The opportunity to be here and to address the amount of economic power that is in this room to change the way innovation takes place in this time space in humanity, to innovate the way we innovate, to change innovation itself, is a profound opportunity. BT teamed with the XPRIZE because of a couple of core beliefs. Number one, we have invested massively in infrastructures around the world, and we believe that an essential element of the 21st century, okay, as energy has been key to the development of the 20th century, communications will be essential to the success for humanity in this 21st century and the amount of collaboration that will take place on it. We also believe very strongly that corporate social responsibility and sustainability are no longer in conflict with commercial success. As a matter of fact, they become an essential element of driving that success. When you look at the underlying interest of most of the enterprises in this room and or around the world, we have concerns about what the global liquidity crisis means to us. But inarguably, if through the innovations that we'll talk about and the processes for innovation over the next couple of days, we could accelerate the next billion people in the world to emerge into the global economy, we now have a sustainability model, okay? We have a sustainability model for the economic growth that we need around the planet. So the confluence of the vision of the XPRIZE to solve the world's great unsolved problems, to help accelerate the participation of the next billion and 3 billion people in the global economy, it just seemed like an incredible initiative to get behind, and then unleash some of the energy of the 160,000 people that make up BT around the world, the 172 countries that we operate in. And I want to share with you something. I nicked one of my kids' toys here, and I want to share with you an idea about this incentive-based innovation and what I call open innovation or open collaboration. If you take a look at this sphere that I have, at the center of it, it's got a radius of this sphere. And if these points represent the radii, but they are the technologies that we're dealing with around the world. So say like this is deep in optical networks, or this is wireless technology, and this is compute, and this is storage, and this is proteomics and genomics and bioinformatics. This is stem cell over here. These are the technologies that we are dealing with. And as corporal beings, we kind of get the idea, we can kind of understand that these technologies are increasing at a rate of 10x. We can understand that we're storing 10 times more than we did before, that we're computing 10 times more than we did before. We can understand that wireless networks are actually carrying 10 times more than they were before. But what I think is really difficult for us to get a grasp of, and the opportunity for open and incentive-based innovation, is that if this sphere represents the sphere of innovation possibilities, okay, at the center, driven by these technologies that are increasing at a rate of 10x, what is actually happening to the sphere of innovation possibilities, the universe of innovation possibilities? I call it actually an innovation big bang. This is what's happening, okay? Now, the sphere now has a radius of 10x, 10 times increase in these underlying technologies. But what you have is a volumetric increase in the innovation possibilities of 100,000%, driven by the underlying technologies increasing 10x. And so I would beg to argue that earlier, the challenge isn't that there isn't enough innovation. Matter of fact, there's an enormous amount of innovation. It's driving this innovation at the speed of people's lives. It's purposing this innovation in such a way that it enhances the quality of life or the success of business. That is the challenge. And when you reach across this kind of vast innovation possibilities, the notion that we'll hear about over the next couple of days about having incentive-based innovation, where we have a solid question that we're trying to answer, and we can focus people with the incentives to go after it, we're going to come up with more meaningful solutions to larger problems in this time space than have ever happened in the history of humanity. It is written. It's time. And the compelling part that corporate social responsibility and sustainability aren't in conflict with this commercial success, because to be able to access, I think I can actually make this little cool thing stay up. By the way, it's a toy, otherwise known as a trapezoidal icosahedron, if you want to. But the idea that these investments in this innovation are going to unleash the commercial and economic strength for us to build on in the next couple of decades makes this a really, really exciting proposition. Let's just say that I'm getting my light. I guess brevity is not my strong point, which is probably pretty obvious, but I am excited about this stuff, which I think is supposed to make up for it somehow. With respect to focusing our investments, BT has gone to what we call an open innovation model. No matter how much, the £1 billion that we deploy in R&D a year, it is de minimis relative to the amount of R&D that's going on around the planet. And so what we've had to do is break down all of the old methods of collaboration, where in the BT labs, you would have invented the plastics that went into the fibers, that went into the network and the protocols and the photodetectors, and all the way up through to the Bakelite material that was in the phone. It would have all been inside of the boundaries of the payroll of the organization not very long ago. To an innovation model where you can unleash innovation beyond the boundaries of the payroll of your organization through doing collaboration. And the work today, if you were to go into the BT labs, where there was one tombstone at the front saying, BT, there are some 30 companies that are on our campus collaborating, 32 universities, working with government frameworks, working with the other partners, our customers, in a collaborative way that simply didn't exist just a few short years ago. And so when we looked at how to open up innovation, I'm going to give one commercial example as the kind of power of this. In the UK, where BT has a business serving small to medium-sized enterprises, the customers had voted with their wallet that we were irrelevant. The number of customers was declining like a ski slope. They had decided that we were irrelevant to them. But through open innovation, we went out and we said, let's collaborate with this set of Web 2.0 companies that are emerging on planet Earth. Let's bring back some of those Web 2.0 applications and set them on top of a set of infrastructures that we were running that were very secure, highly reliable, all of these attributes that are important to customers. And what ended up happening was one of the greatest win-win-wins. We now have 319,000 customers using what we call BT TradeSpace. It's actually a social network for small to medium-sized enterprises where they can get access to the world's greatest applications serving their marketplace. They get them secure, they get them safe, they know that they'll be reliable, and the Web 2.0 companies are seeing a channel to market that they never had before. Open, collaborative innovation. Inside, in terms of incentive-based innovation, we've thrown out the rule book where when you, I would do this, except, Charlie, I don't really know you that well. This is what you used to get when you submitted an idea to the new idea scheme inside of the BT program. And what we did is we rewrote it. We incentivized it to where today, if you submit into the company a solution to a problem and it's carried through to fruition, you can earn 30,000 pounds, which is above the mean salary in the UK. It's a tremendous incentive, and we have had hundreds of millions of dollars of cost reductions and product innovations come out of the people in the organization out of this incentive-based innovation. I'm saying that we are seeing through the XPRIZE an opportunity to take on some of the planet's biggest issues around healthcare, education, in terms of clean water, clean energy, these type of really, really fundamental challenges. And with incentive-based innovation, open collaboration, and the will and intellect of the people in this room and those that we affect, we've got a tremendous opportunity ahead of us. And as for myself, I want to just wrap up by telling you how much I appreciate you taking time out. I want to ask you, my little one slide that I have is to, if we could put it up here, is to really challenge the people in the room to think about this. If there were 100 people in this room and we looked at you across planet Earth, when we're talking about driving innovation at the speed of life, taking innovation and making it real, meeting people where they are in their daily lives, let's take a look at this. 57 of us would be from Asia, 21 from Europe, 14 from Western Hemisphere, 8 from Africa. If you look around, that's not what we have here. So it is going to be really hard for us to get out of our comfort zone and get into a position where we are thinking and connecting. Look at the middle. Education, 70 can't read in this room. Look left and right. Okay, this is like the 100 people on planet Earth. 65 never made a phone call. 1 has a college education. Quality of life issues that we can so well address. 80 live in substandard housing, 50 suffer from malnutrition, 20 have never had a clean drink of water, and 15 live on less than $1 a day. I put this up just to end. I'm going to do a little test on you. I call this my convergence test. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand if you have voicemail on a mobile device. Okay, keep that up for me just a second. Raise your other hand if you have voice messaging in an office somewhere. Okay, now being this is my convergence test, you're looking pretty converged right now. I want you to raise your left leg. Okay, keep that up, come on. This is a lot harder for me than you. Raise your left leg if you have voicemail in a home somewhere. Okay. Now the next one is particularly difficult for me. I want you to raise your other leg if you have voicemail on more than one mobile device, in more than one home, or in more than one office somewhere in the world. Okay, if you answered yes to the last question, I suggest counseling straight away. But my point for doing that is to point this out. Converged messaging is not a technological issue. Okay, it's been doable for a long time. What I just demonstrated is an insane focus on innovating in the mobile P&L, but not for the person. In the residential P&L, but not for the person. In the business P&L, but not for the person. As we go forward, as power is shifting to people, it becomes imperative for us to understand who those people are. In a way that is very different than what we have done before. In the telecom industry, you've been doing business with the addresses of people, not the people at those addresses for 100 years. And I would argue that in this time space, through incentive-based innovation, open collaboration, we have a chance to eradicate some of the world's biggest nemesises and have a commercial model that's fueled by doing the sustainable and socially responsible thing. So with that, thank you very much for your attention this afternoon.